All right, kids, buckle up. Today's story is about the ultimate underdog victory. We're talking David versus Goliath. And I'm not talking about your little brother beating you at video games. This is the real deal, the original giant-slaying, faith-powered showdown that happened thousands of years ago. So picture this. There's a war happening between the Israelites and the Philistines. The Philistines had a secret weapon, a guy named Goliath. Now, when I say this dude was big, I mean he was over 9 feet tall. That's like stacking 3 kindergartners on top of each other. We're talking bigger than any basketball player you've ever seen, wearing armor that weighed more than your dad, and carrying a spear the size of a flagpole. Every single day for 40 days, Goliath would stomp out onto the battlefield and shout, "Send me your best warrior, let's settle this one-on-one." And every single day, the entire Israelite army, including King Saul, their leader, would basically hide and pretend they didn't hear him. Talk about awkward. Now here's where our hero enters the scene. David was a teenager, probably around middle school age, and his job was watching his dad's sheep. Not exactly the most glamorous gig, right? Like being stuck doing chores while everyone else gets to do the fun stuff. His 3 older brothers got to be soldiers in the army, but David, he was on sheep duty. One day, David's dad said, "Hey, take some snacks to your brothers at the battlefield." So David packed up some bread and cheese, basically the ancient version of a care package, and headed to where the action was. When David arrived, guess who showed up for his daily trash talk session? Goliath. And this giant was loud. He was basically cyberbullying an entire army, but in person. "Is there nobody brave enough to fight me? Are you all chickens?" David heard this and was like, "Wait, what? This guy is making fun of God's army and nobody's doing anything about it." The soldiers around him explained, "Dude, he's huge. He's been doing this for over a month. We're not exactly lining up to get crushed." But David wasn't scared. He was angry, not at the soldiers, at Goliath for disrespecting God. David marched right up to King Saul and said, "I'll fight him." King Saul looked at this kid, this teenager, and probably thought, "Is this a joke?" He said, "Son, you're just a boy. Goliath has been a warrior since before you were born." But here's where it gets good. David said, "When I was watching my sheep, a lion attacked once. Another time, a bear showed up. And you know what? God helped me defeat them both. This giant is just like those animals. He's against God, and God will help me now too." The king was impressed, but still nervous. He tried to give David his own armor, like lending your little cousin your football pads, but it was way too big and heavy. David was like, "Yeah, this isn't going to work." So he took it all off. Instead, David grabbed his shepherd's staff, went to a stream, and picked up 5 smooth stones. That's it. No armor, no sword, just 5 rocks and a slingshot. Can you imagine what the soldiers were thinking? This kid is going to fight a giant with rocks! David walked out onto the battlefield, and when Goliath saw him, the giant started laughing. "Are you kidding me? Did they send me a kid with a stick? Am I a dog that you're coming at me with a stick?" Goliath was furious and insulted. But David, and this is so epic, David shouted back, "You come at me with a sword and spear, but I come at you in the name of the Lord. Today, God is going to hand you over to me, and the whole world will know that there's a God in Israel. This battle belongs to the Lord." Talk about confidence. David wasn't trusting in his own strength. He was trusting in God's strength. Goliath charged at David like a freight train, but David didn't run away. He ran toward the giant. He reached into his bag, pulled out a stone, loaded his sling, and whoosh! That stone flew through the air faster than a Major League fastball. Thwack! The stone hit Goliath right in the forehead, the one spot not covered by armor. And this massive, terrifying 9-foot-tall giant, he fell face first to the ground with a boom that probably shook the earth. The entire Philistine army stood there with their mouths open like, Did that just happen? And the Israelite army erupted in cheers. They won the battle that day, all because one young person had the courage to trust God when everyone else was too scared to try. So what's the point of this wild story? Here's the thing, friends. We all face giants. Not the 9-foot-tall kind, but big, scary problems that make us feel small and powerless. Maybe it's a bully at school who makes you nervous every day. Maybe it's a super hard test you don't think you can pass. Maybe it's a friend group that wants you to do something you know is wrong, and standing up to them feels impossible. Maybe it's anxiety or fear that feels too big to handle. David teaches us something super important. When we trust God, our size doesn't matter. Our age doesn't matter. What other people think doesn't matter. What matters is that God is on our side. David didn't win because he was big or strong or had the best weapons. He won because he trusted that God was bigger than any problem he faced. And you know what? The same God who helped David is ready to help you with your giants. So next time you're facing something that seems too big, too scary, too impossible, remember David. Don't focus on how big the problem is. Focus on how big your God is. Maybe your 5 smooth stones are prayer, asking for help, telling the truth, or just doing the next right thing, even when you're scared. God can use anyone, even you, to do amazing things. You don't have to be the biggest, the strongest, or the oldest. You just have to be brave enough to trust Him and take that first step. The end.